We are working on GMetrix Excel Core Skills Review 2. The first task asks us to go ahead and make the grid lines visible. What we want to do is go to the View tab here at the top, and in the Show group, just click Grid Lines. Task 2 asks us to go ahead and move our the loan amortization schedule from a different workbook into this workbook. So let's go ahead and click File. We'll click Open. What you want to do is map to your GMetrix templates folder. And what you want to do is open up the Excel 07, and we'll click and drag that up so where you can see this. What you want to do here is right click on that tab, click Move or Copy. Here in To Book, we want to say Excel 06. We'll click OK. And it says to make sure that that it's after the time card. So we want to click, and all I did was click and drag it over. And notice that it's listed second. Task 3 wants us to go ahead and apply conditional formatting around a range. So let's go ahead and find D21 to H27. Once we've selected that range, what we want to do is here at the top on the Home tab, we want to do the conditional formatting drop down. It says it's data bars, and it's a solid fill, red. Task 4 wants us to go ahead and insert a header and a footer in this worksheet. So what we want to do is go to the Insert tab here at the top. We want to go to the text group over here, click Header and Footer. On the left-hand side, it wants us to go ahead and put the current date. So we'll go ahead and click that. On the right-hand side, we'll go ahead and click the page number. And then what we want to do is click Go To. Now sometimes Excel glitches a little bit, and I don't know if it's the GMetrix combination. What I'm going to do is just zoom out to try and find my footer at the bottom. It should have just taken me there, but it glitched out. But in our footer, it wants us to go ahead and add the sheet name on the left footer field. So we're in here, we'll click Design to get back into these features, and we just want to go ahead and click Sheet Name. Now, before you hit Next, make sure you click back into the workbook. Task 5 asks us to go ahead and insert a formula. So let's go ahead and go to D30. And it wants us to go ahead and key in a sum formula first, and the range is D21 to D27. You could just select the range. I'm just hand keying it. There are a few ways to do this. But then it wants us to go ahead and multiply the sum by D29. We'll click Enter. Task 6 wants us to go ahead and edit our options. So we'll go ahead and click File, Options. And then what we want to do is click Formula over here on the left. And then what you want to do is in the error checking, it says to not enable. So what we want to do is uncheck Enable Background Error Checking. And then go ahead and shrink this little screen so we can click OK. Task 7 wants us to go ahead and change our page margin. So we'll go to the Page Layout tab here at the top. And in the Page Setup group, we'll click the Margins drop down and click Custom Margins. It says that it wants it to be 2 at the top and bottom, and it wants it to be 1 on the left and right side. We'll click OK. Task 8 wants us to go ahead and edit our Excel options, and specifically we're going to change our auto recovery save. So we'll click File, Options. We're going to be in the Save group, and what we want to do is just click the down arrow until you see 5. Click OK. Task 9 wants us to go ahead and freeze the top row of the loan amortization schedule. So what we want to do here is we don't have to put our cursor in any specific place because it's just the top row. So we'll just click View, and in the Windows group, click Freeze, and what we'll do is click Freeze Top Row. And now when I scroll down, that row 1 is always visible. Task 10 wants us to go ahead and set our print area from A1 to J13. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and select that range. Then we want to go to the Page Layout tab here at the top. In the Page Setup group, we'll click the Print Area drop down and click Set Print Area. Task 11 wants us to go ahead and modify a style. So we're on the Home tab here, and in the Styles group, we'll click the Cells drop down. And then what we want to do is actually right click on the title, click modify, we'll click format, we want to click font here at the top, and then all that it wants us to do is to change this from 18 to 20. We'll click OK. OK. Task 12 wants us to go ahead and change the tab color of each of the worksheets here, and it doesn't matter which one we choose. So we'll go ahead and we'll do the first one, expenses. What we'll do is we'll right click, we'll select tab color, and we'll select red. Income, we'll select green, and for profit, we'll select blue. And again, all I did was right click each tab to get those settings. Task 13 wants us to go ahead and create a PDF of our workbook. So we'll go ahead and click File, and you can do Save As, but we'll click Export. Create PDF, XPS, click this. You want to make sure that this says PDF. If it doesn't, go ahead and change it. We want to change the name to Fusion Tomo. You also want to make sure that you're in your GMetrix templates folder. If you're not, go ahead and map the file to there. And then make sure that this is unchecked. If you don't, it will open up the PDF when it's done. If that happens, just close out of it. It'll be okay. Task 14 wants us to go ahead and use the Go to Special tool to find comments and ultimately delete the comment. So we're on the Home tab. We're in the Editing group. Go to Special. Comments is selected. We'll click OK. Notice it went ahead and it brought us to this, and you can tell there's a comment in this cell. If you look closely, the right-hand corner has a red triangle, and when I hover over it, it gives me just a little comment box. Now there are a few ways to do it. I could right-click this cell and click Delete Comment, or I could go to the Review tab here at the top, and with that cell selected, just click Delete. Task 15 wants us to go ahead and edit a named range. What we want to do is go to the Formulas tab here at the top. In the Define Names, click Name Manager. And we want to scroll down to the Research. From here, we'll go ahead and select this. And what it wants us to do is to only reference the names here. So in the Research group, we'll select this group. Make sure you hit your check box here to set that change. We'll click Close. Task 16 asks us to go ahead and create a reference in cells E42, F42, and G42 to a named range. So what we want to do is we'll put our cursor on E42, we'll hit the equals on our keyboard, and what we want to do is begin typing. Now there's two named ranges very similar. Make sure you select event total and hit tab, and then what you want to do is hit enter or tab to set the cell. Again, F42, we want to type in pro total. I'll hit tab twice, and then G42 equals add total. Tab. Task 17 asks us to go ahead and change the comment in A40. So let's go ahead and scroll down to A40. And what it wants us to do is just go ahead and add the comment PowerPoint information. So what we'll do is, there are a few ways to do this, but we'll right click here and just click Edit Comment. And then underneath my name, I'll go ahead and type in PowerPoint information. Make sure you click out of that to set the text. Task 18 asks us to go ahead and change our view. So we'll go ahead and click the View tab here at the top, and we'll click Page Break Preview. Task 19 wants us to go ahead and apply a round bevel to the illustration. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and select the image here at the top. We'll go ahead and select Format. And it's not in the Picture Styles, this section here. What we want to do is go ahead and select Picture Effects. We'll select Bevel, and it says circle here, so it says round bevel or circle, so we'll go ahead and select the circle. Task 20 wants us to go ahead and just key in a few values from this to the budget row here. So we'll go ahead and begin with research, which is 0. We'll key in a 0, hit tab. The next one is communications and networking, so those are both 0. Event is 35. And the formatting is adding the percentage for us. Promotions 10%, advertising is 38, and public relations is 17. Make sure you hit enter on that last one to set the information. Task 21 wants us to go ahead and remove the hyperlink in A1. So what we want to do is go ahead, and this is our title here. All we need to do is right click and then click remove hyperlinks.
Task 22 asks us to go ahead and unmerge cells A97. So we'll find that, A97 to C97. And all you want to do is just select the range. You don't want to double click like I just did. Just select the cell once, and then you can click merge and center, and it will unmerge those cells. Task 23 asks us to go to the marketing budget plan. And what it wants us to do is to sort cells A78 through D85, and it wants us to sort column B, largest to smallest. So with that range selected, we'll click data here, we'll click sort here, and the data doesn't have headers, so what we want to do is just select column B, and we'll change this largest to smallest. We'll click OK.
Task 24 asks us to go ahead and put a formula in E51 on the marketing budget plan. So let's go ahead and put our cursor in E51, and it's a count if. So we'll go ahead and with our cursor in that cell, we'll click the insert function button, and this is a count if, so we'll type in count if, click go, and we'll click OK. Our range is going to be D43 to D51, and our criteria is it's looking for anything greater than 0. We'll click OK.
Task 25 wants us to go ahead and create a custom view. So let's go to the View tab here at the top, and what we want to do is we want to display in the page layout. So we'll select that. Then it wants us to zoom to 125%. So we'll do that. We'll click OK. And then from here, what we want to do is click Custom Views. We'll click Add. It'll be Layout, 125. We'll click OK. Task 26 wants us to go ahead and change our page size to A4, but we want to be on the marketing budget plan first. After there, we'll click Page Layout. We'll click in the Page Setup group, click Size, and we'll select A4.
Task 27 asks us to go ahead and insert some spark lines on the marketing budget plan. And so the first cell we want to be in is going to be E10. We'll go to the Insert tab here at the top, and it's a column spark line, so we'll go ahead and select that. And our range is going to be D5 to D8. Click OK. The next place we want to put our cursor is in E18. Go back to the Insert tab here at the top, column. Our range this time is going to be D13 to D16. Click OK. And then our final cell is the E25. Insert column spark line, and our range this time is going to be D21 to D23.
Task 28 wants us to go ahead and create a sum formula on the marketing budget plan. The first place we want to be is in D10, so we'll scroll up. So put in D10, and there are a few ways you can do this, but we'll do the sum first of these cells. We just manually key in this one. On the next one, D18, we could do the insert function, sum. OK. Select that range. Click OK. And D25 is our last place. We'll just manually key it in again. Make sure you hit enter on that last one. Task 29 wants us to go ahead and filter a range by its color. So what we want to do is begin by going to A2 to D95. We'll select that entire range. From here we want to click Data at the top, and what we want to do in the sort and filter is click Filter. And notice it went ahead and put that filter there for us. What we want to do from here is on the Categories drop down, click that, click Filter by Color, and we'll select Black. Task 30 asks us to go ahead and go to our profit and loss summary. And what it wants us to do is modify our logo here to have a height of 1. So with that selected, we can click Format here at the top, and we'll key in 1, hit enter.
Task 31 wants us to go ahead and copy the format on the income worksheet. And what it wants is us to copy G4 to H4 and just copy the format. Now, the format painter button is right here. If you click it twice, it will continue to copy the formatting. If you only select it once, you'll have to go back to your original range, hit that button each time. So make sure you double click there. And then what you want to do is select B5, and it'll take care of both B5 and C5. And notice my cursor still has the painter button. And then B12, B19, B26. Make sure you hit escape to remove the format painter.
Task 32 asks us to go ahead and change the format on our income sheet from B4 to H34. So we'll go ahead and select that range. And what it wants us to do is just change the number format here on the Home tab to currency. Task 33 wants us to go to the profit and loss summary. And in cell D5, all we need to do is put our cursor there, select our key in the equal sign. And then what we want to do is go to the income section here and select H31. And make sure you select enter. And it places that number there. Task 34 wants us to be on the expenses worksheet. But what we want to do is change the column B. So I'll go ahead and select that. Column B to have a font size of 8. So with B selected, I'll key in 8 up here at the top. And we'll hit enter. Task 35 asks us to go ahead and go to the profit and loss summary. And in C5, it wants us to name that cell. Name the cell, just select it. And here in the name box, we'll go ahead and type estimated income. Make sure you capitalize the E and the I. And in C6, we'll select that cell and we'll go ahead and name that as well. EST expenses. We'll hit enter to set that cell. And then it wants us to go to cell B9 and wants us to do this, equals estimated income and subtract estimated expenses. It just wants us to use those two named ranges that we used. Task 36 wants us to go to B21 and it wants us to type in the word graphics here. Make sure you capitalize the G. And then it wants us to go to B34 and just type in food, capital F. Make sure you hit enter after you type. Task 37 wants us to go to the profit and loss summary worksheet. And in D8, it wants us to go ahead and put an if function. So we'll go ahead and type hit the insert function. We'll type in if here. We'll click OK. And what it wants us to do is to look for the sum of C9 to D9. And look to see, is that greater than 22,500? If it is, it wants us to put close, capital C, and if not, not close. Now, a benefit of using the function builder here is notice when I hit tab, it goes ahead and puts the quotations. If the word in quotations, had I tried to hand key this in, I would have had to remember to hand key those quotation marks in. Click OK. Task 38 wants us to go to the income tab here at the top. It wants us to go to G34, and it just wants us to copy the formula to the next cell over. So notice my cursor is a black cross. With that, I can click and drag over. Task 39 wants us to go ahead and go to F2. And what it wants us to do is create a hyperlink that creates a new document called Tomokan Budget. And we'll edit that document later according to the instructions. So we'll go ahead and select that cell. We want to click Insert here at the top. We'll hyperlink. We'll go ahead and click Create New Document. The name of the new document will be Tomokan Budget. And you want to make sure when to edit later. We'll click OK. Task 40 asks us to go ahead and go to the expenses worksheet. And what we're going to do is do an average. Now, for this one, we're going to go ahead and use the function builder. Just because there's a lot of cells that this takes into account, we'll go ahead and click OK. And our first range of numbers, and we're just selecting the actual here. It tells us make sure not to hit the totals on this. And notice it filled in that range. We'll hit Tab to start our new one. Tab, and we're just going to go through this entire thing. When you're done, click OK. Task 41 asks us to go ahead and go to the profit and loss summary. And what it wants us to do is to change this chart. So we're going to go to the design tab here at the top. We're going to click select data. And what we want to do is just change the chart range. So we'll go ahead and select that. And what we want to do is just select B4 to D6. Once you do that, click this drop down here and click OK. Task 42 asks us to go to the expenses worksheet, and then D46. It wants us to go ahead and enter the sum formula to grab the range, the sum for range D41 to D45. We'll close our parentheses and hit enter. Task 43 wants us to go to the income worksheet, and we want to select range G11 to H15. From here, after we select a range, we're going to go to the Insert tab here at the top. We'll be in the Charts group, and what it wants us to do is to insert a 3D column chart. So we'll go ahead and do that. Select that. And it tells us to put it to the right of the data. Task 44 wants us to go to the Profit and Loss Summary worksheet. And what it wants us to do is to go ahead and insert a shape. So we're on the Insert tab here. We're in the Illustrations group, and we'll click the Shapes drop down. What it wants is the lightning bolt shape. So that's under the basic shapes here. If you're not sure, you want to make sure you hover to make sure you select the correct one. And we'll just go ahead and draw one because it gives us the dimensions here. It wants it to be a height of 2. We'll hit enter, and a width of 1.5. Hit enter. Task 45 wants us to go ahead and select the range B40. And we're on the expenses worksheet, B40 to D45. And it wants us to go ahead and sort this data. So with that range selected, we'll select data, sort, and it wants the actual column, which is D. And we want it to go largest to smallest. Task 46 wants us to go ahead and define a range. So I6 to I33. We'll go ahead and select that range. Once you do, up here in the name boxes, there's multiple ways to do a named range, but this is the easiest. If you select the name range and type in miles and hit enter, that's now a named range. You can also do it through the formulas tab here at the top. And then what it wants us to do is in D3, so here D3, it wants us to go ahead and do a sum formula. And it wants us to use that named range. So we'll type that in, close our parentheses, and hit enter. Task 47 wants us to go ahead and inspect the document to remove comments and annotations. So we'll click File here at the top. And what we want to do in the Backstage view is check for issues, inspect document. We'll click Yes. Make sure that's selected. We'll click Inspect. And then we only want to remove this one, so we'll click Remove All and click Close.
Task 48 asks us to go ahead and create a formula in D3 that keys in the sum. So we'll go ahead and put your cursor there, click equals, sum, open parentheses, I6 to I33. We'll close our parenthesis, we'll hit enter.
Task 49 wants us to go ahead and apply conditional formatting to our description here if it sees the text deliver. So we'll go ahead and go to the, we're on the Home tab, we want to go to Conditional Formatting, and then what we want to do is highlight text that contains, and we'll type in deliver. What we want is a light red with dark, so that's selected, we'll click OK. Task 50 wants us to go ahead and save this file as a CSV file or a comma delimited. So we'll go ahead and click File, Save As. You want to map to your GMetrix templates folder. We want to change the saved file type as CSV here. Now there are a few of them, so you want to make sure you select the right one, CSV, comma delimited, and we want it to say Excel 10, so we'll go ahead and click Save. Go ahead and select Yes. Task 51 wants us to go ahead and apply a filter, so we'll go ahead and select this range here. And you want to go to the Data tab here at the top and in the Sort and Filter, click Filter. So we've applied our, we've added the filter. Now we want to filter the purpose to only show business. Task 52 wants us to go ahead and insert a formula that does some subtraction and then multiplication. You want to be mindful of your order of operation here. So we'll go to J6, and we're going to do equals. And what we want to do is put in parentheses. We want to select H6 first, because that's where we're ending. Subtract G6. We'll close our parentheses. So we want Excel to do that first. And then we want to multiply by 0.36. If you do not add the the parentheses around the to subtraction, it will multiply first, and that's not what you want. We'll click enter. Task 53 wants us to go ahead and insert a spark line in K6. So we'll go ahead and put our cursor here. We'll click insert, and it wants a spark line. And our range is going to be, you could manually select this, G6 to I6. I'm just going to type it in. We'll click OK. Task 54 asks us to go ahead and hide column J on this worksheet. So we'll go ahead and just left click it here. And what I'll do is right click now on the J and click hide. Task 55 wants us to go ahead and create a new worksheet. So we'll click the little plus button here. I'll double click. You could right click here and click rename. And they want to call it cover page. Make sure you capitalize the two words. Hit enter when you're done. And then it wants us to position it before the mileage log worksheet. So I just clicking and dragging that tab. Task 56 wants us to go ahead and merge and center A1 to D2. So I'll select that range, and in the alignment group on the home tab, we'll click merge and center. Task 57 asks us to go ahead and what we're going to do is hide three rows here. It wants us to select rows 31 through 33. I'm left clicking and just dragging down on the numbers. And then from here, I can right click the numbers here and click hide. Task 58 wants us to go ahead and add some text. It tells us first to go to C16, and it just wants us to go ahead and add the word delivery. Make sure you capitalize that. And in D16, it wants us to add business. And then we'll hit tab or enter just to set those cells. Task 59 wants us to go ahead and select this image here, and with that selected we'll have the special picture tools format at the top, and it wants us to go ahead and apply a simple white frame. I believe it's this one. If you're not sure, however, it will tell you what it's called. We'll go ahead and select that, and then it wants us to go ahead and also add a red picture border to the image. So over here, we'll click that, and it's a standard color, so we'll click red. Task 60 wants us to go ahead and replace the word personnel with client. So we're here on the home tab in the editing group. We'll click find and select, replace. We'll go ahead and type in personal, and we'll type in client. We'll click replace all, click OK, and then we'll click close. Task 61 wants us to go ahead and use the fill down on cell I6 to the end of the data. So you can select that and in the home tab, click the fill down, or you can click here, you do the black cross here, click and drag down.